This video is for our asynchronous day classwork for Friday, March 26th. So in this problem, it says, you know that the first term is 10. You know that the last term is 50. They also gave us a common difference, okay, of 2.5. And they want us to find two things. They want us to find the series and they want us to find the sum. So for the series, that is where we're going to list out the terms in like the sequence, but with pluses in between. So I know that, again, the first term is 10. They told us that. So we're going to start with 10. We are adding 2.5. So I'm going to have a 12.5. I'm going to have a 15. A 17.5 plus ... to 50. Okay, so that is our series. Let me just move it over here. Okay, so that is our series. When they want us to do the sum of this, in order to figure out the sum, I'm going to be using the formula S sub n is equal to n over 2 times our first term and our last term. I know my first term, I know my last term, I just don't know what the n is. So I need to figure out what term that is. So I am going to be using a different formula. I'm going to be using a sub n is equal to a1 plus d times n minus 1 to figure out what term that is. So for this, I know that a sub n is 50, a sub 1 is 10. I'm adding 2.5 n minus 1 times. I'm going to subtract the 10. I am going to divide 40 by 2.5. So 40 divided by 2.5 is 16. And then I'm going to add 1 and get 17. So I know that the 50 is my 17th term. So now I can come and use this formula to find my sum. So I really want S sub 17, because I'm going to add up the first 17 terms of this, is equal to 17 over 2 times my first term, which is 10, and my last term, which is 50. And when I put that into my calculator, I end up with 510 for the sum of the first 17 terms. Okay, on number 2, there are 12 terms in an arithmetic series. The last term is 42. Okay, so there are 12 terms total, and it's arithmetic. That's the only type we know right now. And the last number is 42, and the sum is 306. Write out the first 3 terms of the series. So what I'm going to do is I am going to figure out the following. So let's see what I know. I know that we have 12 terms. So if I use S sub n, okay, is equal to n over 2 times my first term and my last term. Let's see what I know. I can put in my 306 here. I know my n is 12. So that's going to be 12 over 2. I don't know my first term, so I don't know my A1, but I do know my last term is 42. So basically I have, 306 is equal to 6 times A1 plus 42. I'm going to divide by 6 both sides. I could distribute, I'm just going to divide by 6. So I get 51 is equal to A1 plus 42. I'm going to be subtracting 42 from both sides. So I'm going to get 9 is equal to A1. So my first term is 9. So now they want us to write out the first 3 terms. I know my first term now is 9. The only problem is I do not know what my common difference is. So what I'm going to do next, okay, and I'll do that right over here, is I need to find my D. So I'm going to use the formula A sub n is equal to A1 plus D times n minus 1. And so I have, and here I'm just going to scooch all this over a little bit. Give myself a little bit more space. Okay. So I know that my A sub n is 42. I now know my first term is 9 plus D. I don't know D. I do know that there were 12 terms, so that means I'm going to go 12 minus 1, or basically 11. So I'm going to have 42 is equal to 9 plus 11D. I'm going to subtract 9 from both sides. And so when I subtract 9, I'm going to end up with 33 is equal to 11D. So D is going to be 3. So I'm adding 3. So now I can write my series, the first 3 terms. First one's 9, plus the next one is going to be 3 more than that, which is 12, plus the next one's going to be 3 more than that, which is 15. So those are the first 3 terms. And that is going to be my answer. That's what we're looking for. So on number 3, calculate the sum. Okay, so I know my first term is A1. I know my last term is a negative 31, and that's my A sub n. I don't know what term that is. Do not know what term that is. Okay, so to find that, I'm going to do A sub n is equal to A1 plus D times n minus 1. I'm going to put in a negative 31 is equal to my first term, which is 5, plus D. Well, and I know my D. Oops. Because I can look and see that what I am doing is minusing 2. So instead of a plus, I'm going to write minus 2 times n minus 1. I am going to minus 5. Sorry. I'm going to minus 5. So I'm going to get a negative 36 is equal to negative 2 times n minus 1. I'm going to divide by negative 2. So I get 18 is equal to n minus 1. So I now know that that is my 19th term. So now I can use the formula. S sub n is equal to n over 2 times A1 plus A sub n. My S sub 19, because I'm trying to find 19 terms, is equal to 19 over 2. My first term is 5. My last term here, I'll put a, so plus a negative, I'm going to write minus 31. And I'm going to put that into my calculator. And I end up with a negative 247 as my sum. And now let's take a look at number 4. Okay, so on number 4, you know that the third term of a 21 term series is 33. We also know that it is increasing, each of the terms is increasing by 8. We want to find the series and we want to find the sum. So for this, what I'm going to do is first I need to figure out what my first term is. And in order to do that, a couple ways I can do that. One way is just knowing that I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 terms here. I know the third term. They told me the third term was 33. I know it's increasing by 8, so I can just subtract 8 from this and get 25, subtract 8 from this and get 17, and then this is going to be plus dot 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 plus, and we want to go up to the 21st term here. So I can do a sub n is equal to 17, because that's my first term, plus 8 times n minus 1. And so in this case, since it's n minus 1, is 21 minus 1. And I can just put that into my calculator. So 17 plus 8 times basically 20. I end up with 100, sorry, and I should really write this as, this is my 21st term. 177. So it's going to go up to 177. So you want to make sure that you also include the last term. Okay, the last term. So you can give me like the first 3, and then you can give me the last. You don't have to obviously write out all 21 of these. Okay, now the next thing I need is my sum. So I am going to figure out that S sub n is equal to n over 2 times a1 plus an. That's the formula I'm going to use. Now I think I know every bit of information I need. I know that we have 21 terms over 2, and here let me just, we are finding S sub 21. Okay, so we're going to have 21 over 2. My first term is 17. My last term is 177. So let me put that in my calculator. And I end up with that being 2037. So hopefully this is helpful for those of us who needed it. Have a nice spring break.